who do you think will have the best season win total wise?
I'm going to go back to the guy we were just talking about a few minutes ago, taking over for Bruce Arians in Tampa. He's got Tom Brady as his quarterback. So I don't see any way. I mentioned the Buccaneers don't go to the playoffs. I don't see any way they don't. If Brady gets hot and everything's working, they're healthy, they could go on a run. So give me Todd Bowles with the first overall choice.
Yep, that would have been my first overall choice as well. Right now, FanDuel has their win total at 11.5 this season. The number 2 pick in this draft, I will go with Nathaniel Hackett in Denver. I think that addition with Russell Wilson is going to unlock a lot of that offense. And I think Hackett and Wilson will end up making some pretty good noise. Who knows in that really tough division, but FanDuel has their over-under win total at 10.5. My number 2 pick, so the number 3 pick overall, is going to be Mike McDaniel in Miami. I do think Mike is going to make for an excellent head coach. I'm not totally sold on Tua, but I feel like really good defense along with really good skill position guys, is certainly an offense with Tyreek Hill. Tua's got no excuses. I think McDaniel's a bright young mind. Give me McDaniel and Miami with that 3rd pick overall. Their over-under win total is 8.5 this season.
All right, this is where it gets juicy. This is where it gets interesting because I think those top 3 we not only agreed on, but I think most people would agree on. Now we get to that second tier, and here's where the difficult decisions come in because I'm going to put my trust effectively in someone I should not be putting my trust in and who I've never put my trust in before. I'm putting my trust in Jameis Winston to be more like what he was last year before he got hurt than he has been the entirety of his NFL career before that. So I'm going to take Dennis Allen in New Orleans, and I'm banking on the Saints because of their defense, because of Kamara, because they're not going to ask Jameis to do too much to not win the division, certainly, because we just talked about Bowles and the Buccaneers and Brady, but to be the second team in that division and to be a wild card team come playoff time. So give me Allen in New Orleans. And as much as I dislike Josh McDaniels, and I really do, I think there's enough talent on that Raiders team that even in that division, they've got 8 or 9 wins in them. And so give me McDaniels with the 5th overall pick in my 3rd selection.
For what it's worth, FanDuel has New Orleans over under win total at 8.5, and then Las Vegas is at 8. Great minds think alike. That's exactly where I would have gone. So I will ask you, it looks like we're tracking the same exact way. Would you have taken Mike McDaniel from Miami 3rd overall, which is what I did?
Yeah, I would have had McDaniel and Hackett 2-3. Yeah, in that combination, just like you
Okay,
did.
so you might have actually gone Miami 2 instead of... Oh, okay, interesting. Okay,
I'm a big believer in the impact of the Tyreek Hill trade. I really think that's exactly what Tua needs, is somebody who can lift the lid off of things and blow games open. I mean, he's the most electric guy in the league. So I think that Tyreek Hill trade is what shifts things for the Dolphins.
So now things get real tricky because you have the Bears, the Texans, the Jaguars, and the Giants. I don't know who I like out of this quartet because I don't like any of them. But give me Matt Eberflus in Chicago next. I'm not a huge believer in the Bears really becoming winners, but, you know, we're kind of talking about the best of the bunch here. And so their over-under win total is 7 wins in Vegas. So I'll take Eberflus 6, and I'll take Daboll 7th. Again, I don't really love Daboll, but this is a make-or-break year for their quarterback and Daniel Jones. He has to be able to step up and win that job at a new contract long-term. If Daboll did what he did to even a fraction with Josh Allen, with you know, the Giants, then I guess they'll be okay. The Giants win total is 7.5. I feel like that's really high. I don't expect them to be that good, but if we're looking at the Jaguars or the Texans, I think the Giants will be better than the Jaguars or the Texans.
Okay, interesting. I would have taken, and he'll be the last pick of our snake draft this week, and I would have taken him ahead of both Daboll and Eberflus, and it's Doug Peterson in Jacksonville.
Okay.
I think he's going to affect some major change there. They've brought in some pieces to surround Lawrence. So I think Jacksonville is a 6.5. I think that's where the line is as well.
It is,
6.5 win team this year. Look, they're not going to make the playoffs this year, I don't think, but they're going to be a whole heck of a lot better than they were under Urban Meyer. I think Peterson's the right guy for the job, so give me him with the final pick.
Yep, you're exactly right. The Jaguars over under 6.5. And for what it's worth, Lovie Smith in Houston, over under win total is 3.5 with the Texans. Another grotesque year staring Texans fans in the face.
And I would still, I don't know if I could bring myself to bet the over. I think I'm all the way in on under, as low as that number is. I mean, is there anything in Houston that makes you feel good about that team? I don't think it's another 2-win year for them, I think.
Here's what's shocking. Had they held on to David Culley, I might think about the over because they actually played kind of tight down the end of the season. They beat the Chargers. Davis Mills looked okay at quarterback, and I think they covered 2 of their final 4 games, if I'm not mistaken. So I might have felt better, but I've seen Lovie on the sidelines of the NFL. I've seen Lovie on the sidelines at Illinois. I don't think Lovie's got much left in the tank as a head coach. So I would probably plug the under there as well. So here's your teams. The snake draft comes up. Max got Bowles in Tampa Bay, Dennis Allen in New Orleans. He's also got Josh McDaniels in Vegas and Doug Peterson in Jacksonville. I've got Nathaniel Hackett in Denver, Brian Daboll with the Giants, Matt Eberflus in Chicago, and Mike McDaniel in Miami.
I just realized I have the retread team, and you've got the young up-and-coming team.
Who knows what that means?
I don't know what that means, but I didn't intend for that to happen. But I've got all the guys who failed miserably somewhere else or just fallen to pieces. And somehow I think I may have blown this one.
Do we believe in the Jaguars over 6.5 wins here? Because that's a tasty proposition if you believe that so much of last year's disaster was pinned on Urban Meyer and that Trevor Lawrence inevitably has to be better and that Doug Peterson has coached a Super Bowl champion. Then getting to 7 wins in a 17-game season would seem doable.
Yes, it should be. And again, it's all about how big of a step do you think Trevor Lawrence is going to take this year? And I think under Peterson, it'll be a pretty sizable one because it's all relative to whatever may have happened under Urban Meyer. And Urban Meyer, it feels like, was the albatross around this team last year. Not that they were, again, going to go on any kind of crazy run, but that with Urban Meyer just simply existing around this team, they weren't able to get anything going. You know, it's tough when you wake up and you don't even want to go into work when you're a professional athlete and you're supposed to be living out your dream job, right? You're playing at the highest level, but you don't even want to go in because that guy's there and you know how everybody's going to get treated and feel throughout the course of an average day. So I think just the twisting of the lens of how guys look at it when they're headed into the facility to work out, off-season programs, once the season starts, day-to-day work. I think that changing of culture, if you want to call it that, is going to be huge for the Jags. It's why I would be tempted to take the over that 6.5 because they're right there. They're a 6-7 win team for me.
I also think a lot about nowadays the 17-game schedule because we used to think in 16 games, and that was our framework forever. And now knowing that you get an extra game in there, it might have to affect how you feel like they can go over because they get another shot at hitting the over with that extra game in there. So something to keep in mind.